Okay, so this time we talk about Yone. But before we get to his lore, a short explanation. In Ionia there are the words Arcana and Asarcana. Arcana are very classic demons. These would include the demons from LoL such as Evelynn or Tahm Kench. Of these Arcana there are 10 particularly powerful ones that are also called the 10 Kings and are mentioned in an old Demacian poem, among other things. One of these 10 Kings is Fiddlesticks, and I suspect that he is the most powerful of the 10. Then there are Asarcana. When Arcana means demon, Asarcana stands for small demon, so I suspect that the added Za is used for diminution in Ionian language. Asarcana aren't real demons yet, they cling to people like parasites and feed on their negative feelings. In doing so, they become stronger, until they can eventually kill their host and become Arcana. So, now on to Yone. Yone was patient and disciplined. He adhered to a strict code of duty and honor, and saw himself as a protector. He was in contrast to his half-brother Yasuo, who was cheeky and daring. Even so, they were inseparable, and when Yone started attending sword fighting school, Yasuo followed him. During their training, the eldest Soma offered Yasuo to teach him his legendary wind technique. When Yasuo refused, Yone gave him a maple seed as a token of his support and encouragement, even though he feared that Yasuo would not be a good student due to his impulsive nature. But he did not doubt the eldest decision, so he focused completely on his training with 2 swords, which he mastered. He was much better than Yasuo, and the only reason his younger brother could keep up in the practice fights was because of the wind technique, which made the fights spectacular. But when the war came to Ionia, these happy times ended. Yone and many other students from the sword fighting school set out to stop the Noxian forces, except for Yasuo. He stayed behind to protect the elder Suma. But one night the elder was found dead. He was killed using the wind technique he himself had taught, and when Yone returned, Yasuo had fled. No matter how Yone looked at it, he always came to the same conclusion, that it was really his fault that the eldest was killed. And Yasuo had also killed a few pursuers by now, and Yone thought their blood was on his own hands as well. At this point, an Asarcana attached to Yone. Loaded with guilt, Yone followed his brother. When their blades finally crossed, Yone's fighting skill was superior, as always, but the wind technique was too strong for him, and he fell at the hand of his own brother. But death wasn't the end for Yone. When he arrived in the spirit realm, he was overcome by the burden of failure and anger. He heard a rumbling laugh, and when he turned around, he saw an Asarcana attacking him with a blood-red blade. And again, Yone found himself in a duel in which he was the superior swordsman, but was at a disadvantage due to magic. Yone was overwhelmed by his anger, and he managed to take the blade from the Asarcana and ram it into the creature. His eyes went black, and he could still hear the Asarcana laughing. He was back in the world of the living, but years had passed, and he now had a blood-red sword in his hand, and a mask in the shape of the Asarcana's face over his own face. He could not remove the mask, but he could see other Asarcana through it. But he always has to fear that the Asarcana that is the mask on his face will eventually wake up and devour him. But he had learned that Asarcana could be forced into lifeless masks with their real names. Now he is hunting the Asarcana, because with every single one he defeats, he learns something about the one on his face. And he hopes to learn what he has become, and one day to learn the name of the Asarcana in the mask. Nothing else matters. There's only the chase of truth. Okay, now that we are done with Yone, let's watch the cinematic Kin of the Stained Blade. But to get a little order, I'll go through the scenes in chronological order. Accordingly, we start with a scene in which Yone and Yasuo are still children. In this scene, you can see the difference in the characters of Yone and Yasuo, as I already described at the beginning. Yone is patient and disciplined, while Yasuo is cheeky and daring. Yone apparently got Yasuo out of a fight, and Yasuo is not happy about it. He insults Yone, but Yone tries to teach Yasuo something from it. The next scene shows the two in a practice fight a few years later. Yasuo manages to knock the sword out of Yone's hand, and a discussion ensues, because Yone will go to war against the Noxians, and Yasuo wants to come along to protect Ionia, but Yone forbid Yasuo to leave the elder Suma, who had taught Yasuo the wind technique. He says that Yasuo has to protect him, which he does not like. This is probably the last peaceful meeting between Yone and Yasuo, cause the next run is less peaceful. Of course I mean the legendary duel between the two brothers. As you probably all know, Yasuo won this one, thanks to his wind technique, although Yone is the better swordsman. This duel apparently takes place on a battlefield, because you can see Noxian equipment, and Yasuo also uses a sword which he picks up. When Yasuo deals his brother's killing blow, Yone reveals that the real reason Yasuo was suspected was because he ran away. Now we are in the present, where Yasuo wakes up in the market of Relle, and accidentally bumps into an old man. Ofa is the Ionian word for old man. The old man knows Yasuo, and knows that he is here for the Spiritblossom Festival in Relle. He also offers Yasuo to come to his temple instead of going to the normal place, which is far away. Yasuo accepts the offer and follows the old man to his temple at the river Relle, where Yasuo cleanses the blood from his sword. This is of course not Yone's blood, as the duel between the two was years ago. The old man gives Yasuo a spirit blossom and a tea, but here you can already hear a demonic voice in the background. While Yasuo is distracted by the tea, which was obviously a trap, the old man shows his true form as an Azarkana. Also, the spirit blossom was just an illusion. Now Yone appears, and he attacks the old man. Yasuo has not seen the old man as Azarkana, so he intervenes and fights against Yone, whom he has not yet recognized. But then he recognizes him and helps him kill the Azarkana. Yone calls out something, which is most likely the real name of the Azarkana, because as already mentioned, Azarkana can be banished in masks with their real names. By the way, these statues in the background existed before there were people in Ionia. It is believed that a race of giants previously lived in Ionia and built these statues. Yasuo offers to let Yone kill him, but Yone replies that Yasuo might deserve death, but not by his hand. Yasuo answers that there will be nothing left for him in Ionia, and shows that his whole life has revolved around Yone. So much so that the only reason he is still in Ionia is because he wanted to talk to Yone at the Spiritblossom Festival. This can be seen when he and Ari leave Ionia and sail to Bilgewater. Ari was already looking for an escort in the short story Perennial, and this escort is now Yasuo. Both are looking for something in Bilgewater, but we don't know what they are looking for yet. Okay, so much for this video. One video about the Spiritblossom event is still to come, in which I take a look at all the legends on which the Spiritblossom skins are based on.